Halo 5?
I mean, yeah, Halo. Honestly, the idea of
Halo's
playing
dead.
through every campaign in Halo is probably one of the coolest.
Yeah, that is cool, but they
Yeah,
fucked it up.
yeah, they did. That's such a fucking shame.
Yeah,
God damn it.
yeah, it is. They
I
shit the bed completely.
legitimately thought about buying an Xbox One after hearing about that bundle. I really thought about it. I was like,
Because
shit.
that's like the reason for. That's a lot of like if you can go back, that's a lot of what sold 360s is the promise of a Halo game,
Yeah.
and that's what they're trying to. Maybe they're trying to do that again, and hopefully it doesn't suck. Because honestly, they haven't made a good, in my opinion, they haven't made a good Halo game since 3.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on the Halo game since 3.
Yeah,
I didn't even finish Reach's campaign, and I don't even think I got 4, so.
I, yeah, 4 was like some people like it, but 4 I think was just a farce. Actually, it's like not even like I don't like it. It's like a farce. Like they did so many like they sprint buttons. Okay, loadouts. All right, kill
Yeah.
streaks. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The maps also were probably the worst in not only any Halo, but probably in any game I've played with guns. Like there are some really
Jesus
bad maps.
Christ.
Yeah. Like I don't understand. Like they're like just I don't understand some of those maps at all. Ugh.
Hmm.
Maybe that's me being too harsh, but I was just like, it was one of
Yeah,
those
any
like,
shooter ever, Jesus.
yeah, no, I didn't say that. Well, and
Well,
then
you
like
said,
the maps are some of the worst I've seen in a shooter. Like period. Like we're going back to, you know, bad maps. I'll go as far as to say it's the worst. One of the, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that. That's dickish. But I was really disappointed. And got when I first got it, it was one of these things where I was really into it because if you remember at the time, my power went out
yeah, yeah.
and I had a generator hooked up to my house, and the only game that I had that was new was Halo 4. And I wanted to play the campaign like the day that I got the campaign, the power went out. And so like, half of Long Island and New York and all that. So Sal, you weren't affected, were you?
Wait, what?
Never mind.
No,
So
I was just like playing it. I wasn't.
now, were you affected by the storm, the power? What was it, Sandy
By
or?
Sandy?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay. So I was in my basement playing that in like
That.
hour increments because it's like, well, we're on a generator, and it's like, nobody needs it for anything else. So this is what we're. This is like this is like the frivolous thing that we're gonna use it for a while. So I'm like playing like, yeah, I'm doing something besides reading a book and by candlelight. So I was really enjoying it, and then it was like smile on my face, and that slowly diminished over when I got my internet back,
Hmm.
and when I started playing online, I was like, oh yeah, and then just like the hit detection's all shitty in that game too, and like things are skipping around, and skip beating and bopping, and there's kill streaks, and it's like why is there kill streak weapons? They've That's not even it. The biggest farce about that game is that they eliminated the need to go for power weapons, which is
Yeah, I
like,
was gonna say, getting, kill streak weapons in a Halo game is just not, like, that was, kind of the entire point of
yeah,
maps.
yeah. I mean, when I think of Halo, I think of like two teams charging for the rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And you want to get that rocket launcher. When you get it, it's like, yeah, bitches, what now? And it's like that's like the whole point of the game, like getting power weapons. And when they make it just like, yeah, it's fucking random and it just drops and yeah, it's
Get
like
the booping
no.
and the bopping
The
and the
booping
booping
and
and the
the
hopping.
bopping and the raping and the consumer and the putting the drink in the consumer's drink and the raping and all. But that's what happened with that. It makes me sad because I like Halo, and Halo is like real talk. Is like the last competitive shooter on consoles. So let's not fuck it up. I just hope 5 is good. I hope they get rid of the stupid sprint mechanics. I mean, that's not even it. They could have that, I guess. Just don't kill streaks. Like, have a reason for combat. Besides, let's go to this one spot and just hang out here. No, like, let's go to this spot because we know this thing's gonna spawn here or whatever. God damn it.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Well, no, I mean, I basically I agree pretty much all that, but the bit that said like that Halo is probably the last competitive shooter that's come out,
Yeah,
only because I feel like people really, really get into Battlefield and Call of Duty.
but they're not competitive.
Says who?
Says me.
Why?
Because you could play Call of Duty and Battlefield on a competitive level, but the way it's set up, it's like sports, right? Or I'll put it this way: it's like sports. Like people play basketball competitively. People play, football competitively in teams. Same thing with baseball. But people don't really play like, like the tic-tac-toe sandbag game, like sandbag games the same way. And like you could be good at it, but it does not have the depth that most competitive games have. So to say it can be played competitive, he's like, yeah, it's looking checkers, but it's not chess. So I mean, yeah, but Halo I feel has that depth to combat and into gameplay. I mean, and into like the maps and the way like the meta of the game works. It's not just like, well, who could ever aim first and kind of has the best positioning wins. And even then, there are better games for that, like Counter-Strike. And there's that one variable in Call of Duty games and Battlefield games that you cannot control. And if you enter too many variables that you cannot control in any game, that to me is horseshit. You should be able to control a certain amount of variables. Like I get that, like that things are hard, but when you literally have people spawning behind you and spawning all these random directions, and there's nowhere for you to know that, and the way that the maps are laid out breeds like just people running. Like you need to get here, but there's no good way to get there because the maps aren't designed well enough. That's a major problem, and that can't be that. That's not the way that I feel like competitive games should be played. So to say that, like Halo is kind of like the last competitive game because it still has an old flavor of like a solid gameplay mechanics, solid ways of like going about solving a problem, and a fun and assorted arsenal that keeps the game interesting. Now, when Halo 4 came out, they kind of went away with that and just added sprint buttons and
Sprint button.
yeah, and kill streaks and stuff. It's like, wait, no. This is not what. This is like you just trying to. This is like those variables that we can't control. Like people are spawning behind me, kill streaks are falling. Like the enemy team is losing, and they just got like a rocket launcher spawn right in front of them. What's happening? That shouldn't work. They should be punished for losing, and the only way to get it back is to. I mean, honestly, let's be fair. Like you fuck up, you should be punished. Like that's how games work. I don't understand this like equal opportunity in gaming. No, if you lose, you lose. Not everybody gets
It's
a
okay to
fucking
have like
trophy.
slight comeback mechanics, but not dumb
Yeah,
shit.
that's fine.
Like fighting games, like every day. Use a lot of games have shit. Like
Like
except when it's dumb like X Factor. X Factor's retarded.
Is it? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, not even no. Fuck.
I'm pretty sure you was trolling though. I know you were trolling, Kyle. Like, you know damn well how retarded X Factor is. Everyone knows how damn well.
I was kind of trying to be devil's advocate a little
Nah,
bit.
you
Yeah,
can't. It's impossible. Impossible. You know what? Let's all take a moment to remember Dark Virgil. I say like it's not still it's definitely still a thing.
yeah.
But let's just remember how retarded that thing is and how that has single-handedly reversed OCB people. Or well, back in the old day it was Dark Wesker, right?
Yeah, Dark Wesker, Dark Phoenix.
Oh yeah, Dark
Real
Phoenix
for
too.
real.
And Dormammu.
What about Dark Doom
No.
or Dark Magneto?
I mean, they did stuff.
Just not as much as fucking
But
Virgil.
they didn't Dark Wesker and Dark Phoenix. They didn't kill people. Well, I mean, they did because anyone can kill.
They had to use
people
meter
combo
though.
with
Both of them had to
X-Factor
use
3.
meter. But
yeah, I feel like I haven't myself gotten like I just don't play like Battlefield and Call of Duty, I guess, that much. Like I just don't. Those aren't the games I play. But I feel like in Battlefield that there's some kind of way to traverse safely, or
Yeah.
like
yes, Battlefield is a better example, but you still have like chopper gunners that just come out of nowhere and just mow you down. It's like, oh well, I can't. And you could pull out a rocket launcher and shoot him, but that's
yeah, I feel like there's just things that you have to take into account because like
yes.
just taking everything into account and knowing what to expect. So I mean, I'm not really sure about it
No,
because
Battlefield is better at that, but it's still like you're on a battlefield, like shit's gonna happen if you know what I mean.
yeah.
And
Ow.
that can be played competitively, but I don't know. Like in the old Halo games, like like in Halo 3, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to the rocket launcher. It's like we took 2 guys down, and the other one's like running, so we know they're gonna spawn on this side, and like we need them to, we can corral them from here, and it's like, okay, let's like use tactics because of that. Instead it's kind of like they could be coming from anywhere. I can get shot in the back at any time. And that's fine, but that's not necessarily competitive. There's definitely ways of countering it. But the way the game plays at a base is not necessary. Like maybe Battlefield's a bad example.
Because I feel like the same could be said about Halo, in that you don't really know where someone's going to come entirely, and
No,
or
but
that
there's
like you
certain
should.
variables, like they're not here, they're not here, so they must be here. That's the same thing with any kind of competitor. Like if you play Counter Strike or something, it's like, okay, they're not at A, so they must be a B. Well, it's not, that's simple, but like,
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's basically. I mean, if you really think about it, it kind of seems like it's about the same thing. It's just on a larger scale. So
yes,
in that
that's what I'm saying. It's maybe a bad example,
yeah.
but there are definitely some situations where it's like maps aren't necessarily designed properly, and it's just like, okay, we're just going clusterfuck here.
Hmm.
That's fine, but like, yeah. But in the same way, but like, no, I'm gonna stand by what I said, because in the same way, like Call of Duty could be like that. Like, they're gonna
Yeah.
come from here, you're gonna come from here, but you could also just get naded randomly. It's like, okay, well, like I heard this analogy forever ago. I think remember Freeze? He came up with this. He's like, I can't like sit next to Daigo and beat him three straight games in a row. Or no, that's a bad example. I can't sit there and play against Daigo and beat him in a round, because he just knows more about the game than me, and he has so many ways of dealing with me because there's so much depth to the combat. In Call of Duty or Battlefield, I could fucking throw a knife at you. I could throw a knife at the best player in the world. It bounces off a wall and hits him in the back of the head. I mean, is that the same kind of? Is that really the same? I don't know. It's like a master of something in one. They can only deal. They go like the master in Battlefield or Call of Duty can only deal with so many variables, and then at the end, and then it's just turned up, and it just goes by chance at that point.
I think shooting games is more the mastery comes from the strategy. It's not really the
You're right.
Yeah, because
you know.
they're also kind of. It greatly depends on the game because like if you're playing something like Dead or Alive, in which there's the parry system,
Sure.
and half the knowledge comes from knowing which moves do what, so which moves hit high, medium, and low, and then half of it comes from mind games. So
Yes.
someone who's bad has the potential to be a pro Dead or Alive player to some extent because
I know what you mean.
yeah, because there's like Oki or not Oki, there's standard like Yomi that is dealt with in competitive scenes and people
Yes.
know what to predict. But if someone spams goddamn medium kick 8 times in a row,
Yeah.
you know,
It's like when Street Fighter, when you play something, you
yeah,
play somebody, and like how this character is meant to be played,
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what to look for, and they're so like doing weird stuff that you're like they're doing like empty jump sure use. It's like what?
Yeah, it's like okay,
randomed out.
Okay.
And when you like the empty jump sure use probably like the most frequent. It's like why would you do that? Like like why would you do that?
Do like the input on the ground. They
Yeah.
and put it back.
But you get hit with that because you're like, what are you trying to do?
What the fuck is happening?
Are you trying to like jump low?
Here?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So I get that, but
But yeah,
no, like I will say, but that's the thing. But you say that about shooters, but that's not the thing with shooters. Like if you play Quake and you're 1v1ing some dude in fucking Quake, it's like, all right, I know, like, I hear, it's like a full sensory like clusterfuck to your like mind, because you're just like, okay, like you're just thinking about so much. Like I'm moving so fast. Like I'm thinking about this. He's not here. He's not here. He's not like, oh, this has been taken. I know the timer is on these because, or like I'm gonna make a route. Like I'm gonna come around this way, come down. If he's not there, I'm gonna come back around, pick up the extra armor, then come back around. He will be, if he's not anywhere in that route, I know he'll be in like one or two spots. So then let me make an approach because of that. And this is all something you're just thinking about on the fly. And that's like, what's going to happen. Like if you're good enough at that game, where they're going to be. And that's when you see like some crazy shit where like some guy just like rails somebody behind a corridor because he knows that like he's going to be there. It's like, what? How the fuck could he have known that? Like you knew like he went through the teleporter here and it takes this long to run at his speed and that his head's going to be right here and headshot. It's like, what? But that's like not the case with those games. There's like silence there, like it's the tactics of it. And that's what like I try to make clear, like the difference between those. Like shooters are one thing. Military shooters are one thing, but like old school shooters, like I won't necessarily say TF2 because that kind of, there's some things in TF2 that are like, okay, that's kind of, I mean, I want to say TF2 is pretty balanced. Well, yeah, pretty much, but there's some things that's like, okay, I couldn't really deal with that.
Because I mean, I don't know, like I can still kind of, I feel like I can still say the same thing because even though I'm not really sure if you can do that entirely in Halo as well. Like I feel like it greatly depends on the game. And even
what do you
though
mean?
Like objectives, like for Halo,
yeah,
like I feel like you can't exactly know because then they may just expect that that they expect that you expect that they're be waiting for that weapon.
Yeah, but that's just what I want. That's what I think everybody wants, right?
What do you mean?
Like that mind game inside of
yeah, sure. Exactly, but like that's like the mind game that's like the only mind game I can think of, but it may not play out the same way. So like people may not know exactly what's going to happen. Like I don't think there's a way to know exactly what's going to happen in Halo ever.
No, there isn't, and that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that like you're able to manage you're able to deal with a manageable amount of variables when you take into account Battlefield and just this largeness of it, and like when we were playing PlanetSide, like you're just a grunt, like you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. So there's so many things you can manage, but at the end of like some things you have to just like you can't even think about because that's something you can't really deal with. But in Halo and some other games, like you can comfortably manage all the variables in your head and still play well. And you still may get killed by random shit, but you at least had an idea that could have happened. But in some other games, it's just like a flip of a coin. Like you don't know what's gonna happen.
I feel like in games like Battlefield, when the areas are so large, good players probably separate the tasks or the objectives based on where they are in the map.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would still be pretty much down to a rather concise list of possible opportunities or possibilities in general for like enemy.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's.
But the nature of the game for the average player is not meant to be played competitively. The average player doesn't play the game competitively. When you're playing Halo, you're kind of playing competitively. When you're playing Quake and Counter-Strike, you're playing competitively. Like when you're playing Battlefield, you're just fucking around. I mean, you're
Think
trying to
so?
shoot. I think you're trying, but I think that because of the way the game is made, it doesn't take itself seriously. So, you know what I mean? Like it's not. This game is made for you to drop in, shoot a few guys, drive a thing, shoot a bunch of guys, get blown up. That's fun. But it's not like a sport. You know what I mean? It's like it's like playing laser tag or something. It's not a sport. I don't know. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm just shitting on it.
Yeah, I don't really know enough about it to say whether or not that's true, but I do feel like it's probably.
People will argue me for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I figure that it's just a different kind of strategy,
It
or
is.
even actually even that's debatable. Honestly, I
No,
feel
it
like
is
it's
though.
more
You're
so,
right.
yeah, but I feel like it's more so like it's just larger scale strategy,
Yes.
and then that strategy is split up into squadrons or sections, which makes it basically the same strategy that you know I would think is, or not the same, because there's probably objectives in that game too. I'm assuming vehicles and stuff are objectives themselves.
No, usually they're like base based. That sounds like an odd statement, but they're base centric. Like usually, like you spawn next to them,
Oh yeah,
so
okay.
there's no real fighting for it. The only fighting is for control points, which is why that game's fun. You fight for the control points,
Okay, then yeah, so
and that's yeah.
you just take the vehicles given to you into account.
I'm not arguing that. Like I think maybe I haven't made like I don't know like um like the nature of it isn't necessarily competitive. Whereas you take like Quake Arena, like the name in itself is like a competitive thing.
I feel like,
So you can play. Okay.
well, no, I think I get what you're saying, that like it's easy to like pick up Battlefield and fuck around, and that it's not like inherently designed to say this is how you play this game.
Yeah,
But there is a competitive side to Battlefield, rather
absolutely.
than in Halo. Even though it can, I guess also it can be kind of the same thing. People may not know, like get this rocket launcher, and some people may just go around with like BRs and or ARs rather, and start shooting at people.
No, you're right. BR battle rifle.
Oh yeah, okay, BRs. But yeah, I guess if the maps are more concise, it's easier to see like why are we getting destroyed?
Yes.
Because this guy has this rocket launcher. So
Well, it's not even that. It's that like I better stay like like I can get away from here. Like yeah. Like a lot of Battlefield maps also feel like are like a golf course. Like you kind of go in a set way. Um, whereas a lot of like Halo and Quake and Counter Strike, there you can go multiple different ways and different approaches.
hmm.
But in Battlefield, it's a lot of forward tactics. They're going to come from here or here. So, all right. So that in itself is not really strategic. It's like, well, whoever's got the best shot on whoever's attacking wins, pretty much. It's not like I can come in through this way and then. Well, I mean, there definitely there are definitely ways to do that. Maybe it's a bad example. I don't know. Um, my point is that like those games can be played competitively, but are not necessarily competitive games.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, pretty much. Not to say that it takes a lot of skill to play those games, but inherently the people that are playing them are not playing to become the best in the world or to just be better than your friends. I don't know, like there's a lot of like you can pick up any Battlefield game and kind of just be good, but it takes some time and effort and learning to get good at like Halo. Or I don't know about Halo, but maybe like Quake. Take some time and effort to get a Quake or like Toxic, the game I've been playing over the weekend. So, at its nature, plus, let's be honest, like, just this, all right? Let's just take this into account. You don't have to shoot many people. Like, you don't have to shoot that much in Battlefield and Call of Duty. You hit them with like 3 bullets and they're dead.
Yeah.
When you're playing Team Fortress or Halo or Quake, you gotta shoot the shit out of people. And they're also moving a lot faster than they are in Call of Duty. Well, maybe not. Well, with the new Call of Duty, they're moving pretty fast. But so like the speed that comes into account and the aiming is a lot harder just to get shit done in those games. Whereas when you're playing on a console and you snap onto somebody with your left trigger and you shoot them with 4 bullets and they die.
Yeah, that kind of gameplay style, reinforces care.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you like, how is he doing that? And you like you go, I'm gonna beat that guy. Or you're gonna see what is he doing to beat me? Not just like, well, he saw me first. He saw me first because I was running across this thing because I need to get here, but I don't have a choice because we need to get there now. Fuck. Yeah.
I mean, what? Well, I can also kind of say the same thing for Halo. I guess kind of like I feel like I've only. I mean, you can outmaneuver people in like buildings, I guess, but I feel like it's. I don't know.
Halo's not super fast.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Movement wise.
So once you kind of have your sights on somebody, and
Yeah,
if you get
definitely.
the drop on them, as long as you play right or well, then you pretty much have it.
Yeah, Halo's
depending on the
kind
weapon.
of auto-aiming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah,
maybe Halo's not the greatest example.
Or something like Team Fortress though, and there's so many variables in that game too, with all the different weapons and everything, like the build outs.
TF2?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there's so many ways to play each class.
Yeah, so it's so much to be ready for, but I guess you get ready for like the best weapons first, and then you'll learn everything else as you go.
In TF2?
That's what I would assume.
TF2 is a little different, like I wouldn't say like you could like after like you play a long amount of time, like, okay, that guy's got Dead Ringer and this guy's got this and this guy's got that and like that guy, and that, but you'll still get killed by it. And
yeah,
like at the end of the day, you can still get backstabbed and insta killed. But you're still gonna spy check and you can hear them when they come out. Like there's ways of avoiding stuff. Like that's why like you'll see me shooting teammates like all the time, because it's like the one variable that you can't really consider. Like that may be a spy. Does he look suspicious? Let me shoot him. Okay, that's not a spy. Or but half the time he looks suspicious and you shoot him and he's dead. So it's like, okay, I'm glad I checked.
Yep.
So yeah, I love competitive shooters, and I think that both can be played competitively, but maybe my point is that, like I said, like, one is designed to be competitive, one is designed to be a game. Like, you could play really good at Super Smash Brothers, but that game wasn't necessarily designed to be played competitively. Even the creator of the game said that he did not design Smash to be played competitively. I was like, okay.
Yeah, not until Melee, at least.
So he's kind of like, well, then why are you playing it competitively? Like, he even said, he's like, well, if you're playing fighting games competitively and you choose Smash, well, you should probably choose a different game. The creator of the game. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But he's true, though. Like, if more people got into Darkstalkers instead of Smash Brothers, I would be happy. Like, not the shit on Smash Brothers, but like,
Yeah, I mean, they reacted to the fans, like for tournament style or like
Yes.
this more advanced tactics. There's a lot of shit, and there's the characters have gotten more more actual fighting game like than ever before in this one.
Definitely.
Out.
But my point is that it was never necessarily designed to be
Yeah,
competitive.
sure.
And I could say the same thing about Call of Duty and Battlefield.